What's good, YouTube? Steel here. And in today's video, we're taking on the Garchomp EX Expert Solo Battle. On paper, this is probably one of the strongest decks that we're going against, as it's basically the fighting power that we know and love with the newly introduced Garchomp EX line, which honestly, on paper, as well as in practice, could be pretty strong, and some decks can't deal with it, especially since they give us the challenge of only colorless types. And when looking at the pool of colorless types that we have access to, it becomes pretty clear why I went the direction that I did. However, if you've seen my videos in the past, you know I like to break down the list we're going against first, and then eventually I'll get onto the list of how we beat it. Because a lot of the times, just by looking at what we have to go against, you kind of see why we do certain things, or you can decipher a path to solve this problem in a way that you prefer rather than mine. But just by knowing what we're going against, it makes it a lot easier to build up something to defeat this. There's one thing that stands out of this list, is that your bench is not safe whatsoever, with Garchomp and him only being able to hit your bench, and then Cyrus being able to drag it out. If you start playing a regular game of building up your backline, you will struggle against this deck. However, this emphasis in hitting your bench is something that this deck, for some reason in its coding, cannot get over. And what I mean by that is that you could completely exploit this deck by not putting down anything in the back until you truly have to, if at all. If my words aren't doing it justice, please stick around for the gameplay, as the first example game conveys what I'm trying to explain perfectly. As with all my guide videos, there will be chapters down below to let you skip around anything that you need, whether it's the list that I'm using or the gameplay that I do. But all that is to say that no matter how good this deck list looks on paper, we can exploit the computer completely, and we will do that with our list of colorless birds. As soon as I saw that the challenge was against fighting and that I could only use colorless, I immediately went and looked at the list of bird Pokemon, which includes and is not limited to Staraptor, Farfetch'd, and Pidgeot. I ultimately decided on the Staraptor line and Farfetch'd, due to Farfetch'd being the most aggressive and Staraptor being the hardest hitter. Farfetch'd alone could two-shot anything pre-Garchomp, making it the best lead to have, especially if we're going second. And if they do somehow get to Garchomp, Staraptor's the heaviest hitter and can't get one shot back, so that's why we decided to play that. One thing that I want to note is that I am playing the Starly with 60 HP, because as you'll see through the gameplay, we try not to bench Pokemon. So sometimes we're evolving into Staraptor a little later than usual, and they might get to the Garchomp beforehand, and the 50 HP Starly can't take a hit without the cape, so it's safer to play the 60 HP one. And personally, through practice, the 50 HP Starly that knocks out a tool never really came up despite them playing cape. As for cards that you might wonder why I'm not including, is Berry, mainly because the only Pokemon that we have is Farfetch'd and the Staraptor. Thus, we naturally build up to 3 energy on Staraptor as we evolve it. I ended up opting to play Irida over Berry, as Irida works on any Pokemon as long as it has water energy. And since we're colorless, we have the ability to choose the water energy. And the reason we're playing double Cyrus instead of like some kind of Sabrina split or Sabrina at all, because the Garchomp deck, or any deck that the opponent plays with an X speed, they're constantly switching in and out based on like what they're trying to protect, or they try not to leave something you can knock out up front, and they're constantly moving in and out. The Cyrus not only lets you keep applying pressure, but ultimately lets you close out a lot of the games. Overall, this is a challenge that once you realize how the computer plays it, you could completely exploit it, and that's what I'm here to tell you, or what I'm here to point out. So hopefully, if you're struggling this challenge or just looking for an easy way to beat it, this video found you somehow. If it did help you, or you enjoyed everything Pokemon Pocket, please consider liking and subscribing, and above all else, stay pro. Right, we're going to go first, which honestly doesn't make too much of a difference. All right, this is where, okay, this is gonna be perfect proof of like why this challenge isn't, you don't have to overthink this one too much. And yeah, we'll have access to this line, but we won't use it just yet, and you'll see why. Right, and before they make me look bad, but we'll just pass there and watch them charge him only and just swing. Can't even begin to tell you why they do that. And you know what's worse? Watch them put an energy on him only in the back and swing again. They might go as far as even like swapping them to avoid the knockout. I just don't want y'all to think that I don't do the research, right? All right, this is I was honestly like breaking my head over like how to make a good list, and it's just like you still have to make one, right? Because eventually they start figuring it out, and the second you put something in the back line, it's like the AI hits into a gear. It's like, wait, I know what to do now. But yeah, we gotta get the Himolies out the way before we start committing to this line. But once we commit to this line, it's basically game over. But yeah, I cannot explain it. I'm not the one who made the code. And like they don't even set up the Marshadow. Now next turn the Marshadow could be set up. If it's not, yeah. They'll put the Himoli in the front, yeah. And they'll do the Marshadow basically just because they're forced to. Unless they draw Gibble, then they'll probably put the energy on the Gibble. So imagine having... Okay, you see they were forced to at this point. Having, like, the out to anything we're doing and just... They don't know how to use it, so... And now since all the Himolies are gone, we can start committing to this. And yeah, we're going to lose on the clapback. Like, we're going to lose the Farfetch'd, but we're fine in the long run. Yeah, because we're going to hit for 100s, no need to use Cape here. Communication's not going to get us anything besides another Farfetch'd. So yeah, we already have 2 points, and again, we put every colorless Pokemon we're using is all birds, so they're weak to lightning. We don't worry about the Marshadow after the revenge. Like, yeah, I'll hit for 100 now, but after that it slows down significantly. Now they're using Cape in the back. Like, the AI for this one specifically is probably one of the worst that I've seen. For what reason, I cannot tell you. And I guess technically you can fit Barry into the deck so that in a situation like this, let's say they somehow get through the first Staraptor, I have access to the second one. So I guess looking at it like that, it's worth to play Barry. But in my own practice, especially since Farfetch'd is the only other Pokemon you're putting energy on, it doesn't make much of a difference. And just like that, I'm not going to waste no time. Technically, we could heal, we could draw more cards, put a Cape. But we'll just get our 3rd point here with the knockout. And that's the standard gameplay in this challenge. Like, for some reason, the AI is just like, doesn't know what to do. But regardless, I'll show another example. So like, you see it's like, still consistent way to beat this thing. Alright, and in this example, this time we're going 2nd. So we get to be even more aggressive with Farfetch'd if we were to see it, which we didn't, but... Again, we do our based on what we see. Okay, so double Marshadow. In this case, we'll probably want to build up a bench and stuff. It's when they see him only. Like, if they drop him only here, we could relax, trust. Let's see what they do. It could be Gibble too. At the end of the day, it is a deck for that. Might as well Pokeball here, then research. Let's see. We'll basically react to. Okay, so that's actually amazing. Realistically, I wouldn't even mind like baiting the him only if they have it, but just making sure I'm not missing nothing. Let's get our 20 damage. They can't hit us next turn unless they X speed, which is very possible from them. But trust me, if they see him only, they forget how to act. There it goes. I don't know what they put into this poor AI. And yeah, Farfetch'd is gonna take the brunt of the damage, if that's the word. And we'll give it an extra turn here by giving it the Cape. And just keep going up the line of the bird. Technically, we could have dragged out Marshadow again. It would have probably been for the best, because but they would have just backed out into him only. All right, let's just take our knockout where it is. They haven't set up the Marshadow. And then the other thing is their Garchomp is still not live either. Like, yeah, I could knock out Farfetch'd, but we're okay with that. What we wouldn't mind seeing now is like the healing lady. All right. Let's see what they just. What are they gonna put up front? I wonder. The Gibble, okay. And this is pretty much game because we do have the Cyrus for the Marshadow on the back, so again, it's honestly like some really ugly games from our opponent. They play it so awkwardly, but it is what it is. Let's go put Cape here. You could technically get away with any of the Staraptors because the 80 HP one knocks out most things until they get to Garchomp. I mean the 80 damage one, the one that's like an Arbok that doesn't let them switch around. And then the promo you can't use because it doesn't count as a 3 diamond or less. But realistically, I go for this one because it does have the chance to knock out a Garchomp if they were to see it. Obviously not in one hit, but also that if they start using capes, oh no. They see him only and forget how to act. Whatever. What I'm saying is, once they have cape, you might not be able to one-shot with the other Staraptors, so that's something to keep in mind. But again, this one, it's pretty straightforward. If you're having issues with it, I don't blame you, because if you try to play it normally, like if you were to like just lead off, put your Farfetch'd down, Staraptor, for some reason it like clicks for them. Like, I don't know if it's something in their hardwire or their formula or whatever it is that they follow, that they play it correctly. If you play correctly, but if you, I've done attempts where I win with just Farfetch'd in the front and they never hit me. And it's just like the Farfetch'd running, you heal it once or twice, well, depending on the Marshadow, but they just love him only, and they'll swing whether you have a bench or not. What causes that, I don't know, but I'm here to point it out so you guys have a better time with this challenge. Hopefully it helps. Once again, if this video helped you or you just enjoy Pokemon Pocket content in general, please consider liking and subscribing, and above all else, stay pro.